Coming up, State of Business, sponsored by
QHD quality video streaming Samaga. Internet like a boss. SLT Mobitel Fiber.
IWS Aviation.
A very good evening and a warm welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I'm Yashain Ali and let's have a look at the headlines first. Market capitalization on the Colombo Stock Exchange loses 285 billion rupees. Exploring avenues for cooperation on investment between countries is important, government emphasizes. News in detail. Foreign Minister Prof. Peiris addressed the diplomatic corps at the Foreign Ministry on Wednesday to share information on progress related to human rights and reconciliation. The minister was particularly pleased to inform that after 43 years, the Prevention of Terrorism Act is being amended with the objective of bringing it in line with international norms and best practices.
The sum and substance of the changes embodied in the legislation which has now secured the approval of the Cabinet is very considerable. Very succinctly, the changes are: when a person is taken into custody under the Prevention of Terrorism Act, the magistrate has to be immediately informed. The magistrate has access to the person detained. The magistrate must personally satisfy himself or herself that the conditions of detention are acceptable. The judicial medical officer has a similar role. If there is the slightest indication that torture has been applied or there has been some other form of maltreatment not approximating to torture, then that situation has to be reported to the Inspector General of Police and the Attorney General with a view to swift institution of criminal proceedings.
State Minister of Regional Cooperation Tarek Balasuria inaugurated the virtual networking meeting organized for members of the Ceylon's and Ukrainian chambers of commerce recently. The State Minister emphasized the importance of exploring avenues of cooperation between the two countries for tourism, agricultural products, ICT, and research and development related investment. The State Minister indicated that due to the free and preferential trade agreements which Sri Lanka has entered into with neighbouring countries, Ukrainian companies are able to reach a wider market in the region by making use of the concessions granted to Sri Lanka. The President of the Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce and Industry and Chairman of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, Vish Govindasamy, also addressed the session to emphasize the importance of regular interaction between members to exploit untapped potential, especially in trade, investment and tourism. 100 Sri Lankan Ukrainian companies participated at the business matchmaking session, and the participating companies were categorized under the three main areas of agricultural products, industrial products and tourism and hospitality. Meanwhile, State Minister for Regional Cooperation Tarek Balasuria had also recently successfully concluded visit in Pakistan with the Trade Minister Bandula Gunawardena. The visit, which commenced on the 20th of January, ended yesterday. They also met Prime Minister of Pakistan Imran Khan, and Pakistan Premier had reaffirmed the strong fraternal relations that exist between the two countries. He has also stressed on the importance of regular high-level exchanges in strengthening bilateral cooperation, making optimal use of the Pakistan-Sri Lanka FTA. Defence Secretary General Kamal Gunaratne yesterday took part in a foundation stone laying ceremony for the construction of a dedicated hospital to the service of the needs of Air Force personnel and their families. The Defence Secretary commented that the current medical facility available to the Air Force is not sufficient to cater to the 35,000 to 40,000 airmen currently in service as well as those who have retired. He also noted recent contributions to national security by the Air Force.
ඇත්තටම ගුවන් හමුදාවේ විශාල අඩුපාඩුවක් වෙලා තිබිච්ච දෙයක් තමයි ගුවන් හමුදාවට අවශ්‍ය ඒ නිලයින්ට ප්‍රතිකාර ගැනීමට අවශ්‍ය රෝහල. ඉතින් අපි යුද හමුදාව ගත්තොත් යුද හමුදාවට ඉතාමත්ම හොඳ රෝහලක් තියෙනවා නාරාහෙන් පිට. ඒ වගේම නාවික හමුදාව ගත්තොත් නාවික හමුදාවේ ඉතාමත් හොඳ රෝහලක් තියෙනවා වැලිසර. ඒ වගේම ත්‍රිකුණාමලයේත් හොඳ රෝහලක් තියෙනවා. නමුත් ගුවන් හමුදාවේ තියෙන්නේ ගුවන්පුර ප්‍රදේශයේ බොහොම පොඩි රෝහලක් පමණයි. ඉතින් එතකොට ගුවන් හමුදාවේ දැනට ඉන්න 35,000ක 40,000ක විතර බටපිරිස් ප්‍රමාණයටත් ඒ වගේම ගුවන් හමුදාවෙන් විශ්‍රාම ගිහිල්ලා ඉන්න සේවා මුක්ත භටයින්ටත් ඒ අයගේ පවුල් වලටත් ප්‍රතිකාර ලබා ගන්න විශේෂයෙන්ම නේවාසික ප්‍රතිකාර ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන් ස්ථානයක් ගුවන් හමුදාවට තිබුණේ නැහැ. ඉතින් අනිත් හමුදා දෙකටම තියෙන මේ පහසුකම ගුවන් හමුදාවට තියෙන්නේ ඉතාමත්ම අඩුවෙන්. ඒ නිසා තමයි මමත් ගුවන් හමුදාපතිතුමත් කතා වෙලා ඊට පස්සේ අපි අතිගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමාට දන්වලා රජයෙන් අපි මේ ඉඩම් කොටස ලබා ගත්තේ ගුවන් හමුදා රෝහලක් ඇති කිරීම පිණිස. එන්නත් කිරීමට අමතරව රජයේ සෞඛ්‍ය අංශවලිනුත් හමුදාවලිනුත් එන්නත් කරන ඒ සම්පූර්ණ විස්තරය අපිට පරිගණකගත කිරීම සඳහා ගුවන් හමුදා විශාල දායකත්වයක් සැලැස්සුවා. ඒ වගේම රටේ ආරක්ෂාව නැත්නම් ජාතික ආරක්ෂාව ගැන බලනකොට සයිබර් සිකියුරිටි කියන එකත් අපිට බොහොම වටිනවා. ඉතින් ගුවන් හමුදාව ඉදිරියෙන්ම ඒ සයිබර් සිකියුරිටි සඳහා විශාල කැපකිරීමක් කරලා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒකත් ජාතික ආරක්ෂාව සඳහා ඉතාමත්ම වැදගත්.
Stay tuned for more news right after this commercial break.
These are dreamers. They made their big dreams real using the same connected devices you and I are holding in our hands right now. So what is stopping you? No dream too big. SLT Mobitel.
Welcome back after the break. 99X, one of the Sri Lankan technology companies making innovative digital products for the Scandinavian market, concluded its inaugural event for Youth's Hacktitude 2022 in Colombo earlier this week. The organizers introduced the event as an inter-university hackathon geared towards grooming talented young people to be industry-ready upon their graduation. Accordingly, Hacktitude 2022 focused on exposing the undergraduates to technical challenges that drive participants to develop production-grade code. Chief Product Officer Chatur De Silva said that the uniqueness of the project is that participants were facilitated to work on near real-world projects on a machine of their choice and a development environment they are comfortable in. Out of 12 items that contested for the trophy, the University of Colombo School of Computing became the winners, and the first and second runners-up were the science and engineering faculties of the University of Muratua.
Hacktitude was a very unique hackathon where we had almost all of the universities in the country participating. We had around 600 plus participants competing at the contest. And we are really glad to see the passion and enthusiasm of our youth in competing in challenges like this, which is pretty much a very real world-like challenge, and achieving great heights by completing all of the challenges.
Secretary General of Parliament Dhammika Dissanayake said Parliament will convene on the 8th of next month and the debate on the special goods and services tax will be on the 10th. Secretary General Dissanayake also noted that the Parliament will also debate on several other amendment bills during that period. Second reading of two regulations under the National Medicines Regulatory Authority Act No. 5 of 2015 and the Mahapula Higher Education Scholarship Trust Fund will be taken up for debate on 8th February from 11 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. The Sri Shaka Sinharama Viharastakari Sadhaka Sangvidhanaya bill will be moved to the Legislative Standing Committee after the second reading. The second reading of the Code of Criminal Procedure Bill, Prohibition of Anti-Personnel Mines Bill, Judicature Bill, Civil Procedure Code Bill will be taken up for debate on 9th February from 11 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. On the 10th February, the second reading of the Provincial Council's Transfer of Stamp Duty Bill, Special Goods and Services Tax Bill, Value-Added Tax Bill regulations under the Imports and Export Act No. 1 of 1969 has been scheduled for debate. Yesterday, at the close of trading, the ASPI for the week had lost 486 points or was down 3.6%, and the S&P SL 20 for the week had lost 204 points or was down 4.4%. Market capitalization on the Colombo Stock Exchange lost 285 billion rupees to close at 5.73 trillion rupees as opposed to 6.1 trillion rupees last Friday. NDB Securities reported yesterday that the ASPI closed in the red as a result of price losses in counters such as LOLC Holdings, Lanka Holdings and Brown's Investments, with a turnover crossing rupees 7.5 billion. A similar behavior was witnessed in the S&P SL 20. High net worth and institutional investor participation was noted in Chevron Lubricants, Axis Engineering and Haley's. Mixed interest was observed in Lanka Holdings, Softlogic Life Insurance and LOLC Holdings, while retail interest was noted in Brown's Investments, SMB Leasing, non-voting and industrial asphalts. Foreign participation in the market activity remained at subdued levels, with foreigners closing as net buyers. The transportation sector index lost 4.79%. It was the top contributor to the market turnover. The food, beverage and tobacco sector index lost 1.92%. It was the second highest contributor to the market turnover. Softlogic Life Insurance, LOLC Holdings and Diesel and Motor Engineering were also included amongst the top turnover contributors. Stay tuned for stock updates.
Our own little ones running around this house will be so lovely. I think 12 might work.
Connect multiple devices simultaneously. Internet like a boss. SLT Mobitel Fiber.
Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a negative note today. The all-share price index dropped 22.56 points to close at 12,863.14, and the S&P SL 20 dropped 20.36 points to close at 4,380.55. The turnover was 6.3 billion rupees and over 239 million shares were traded. Up next are Forex Rates. And that's all news for today. See you tomorrow with State of Business at the usual time. Until then, take care and good night.